Hello, hello. Welcome to the Foundations class. My name is Lori Petro and I'm the founder of Teach Through Love. Thank you for joining me here. You are really doing a tremendous service for our kids and our world by committing to being conscious of your words and actions and truly changing the way that you speak and interact with others. And this is not just about creating family peace, but really about creating a culture of kindness in our world. So this session is it's an introduction to conscious parenting. And I think our first step in creating the peace in our homes, as well as this culture of kindness, is about constructing a new framework. We're going to lay a new foundation for living and interacting and disciplining kids. And you'll see that I talk a lot about awareness and not perfection, because there is no destination. It's just a journey, and the journey is meant to be enjoyed. So there is no perfect parenting. There is no perfect answer. Every situation is going to be unique, and I really hope that what you get out of this Foundations class is this understanding that there is so much more to parenting than just disciplining our kids. It's really about creating more than that. And when I talk about conscious parenting, I talk about it in this framework that I've divided into these three main areas that contribute to what I believe are some really important concepts in this conscious parenting philosophy. So I call it the ABCs of conscious parenting. And the A is the attachment and the attunement. This is all about the relationship and about how we attune to our children's emotions and how we connect and bond. And then the B is the brain science and child development. This is a really important part to understand if we're going to be able to reframe our view of behavior. Knowing the brain science and understanding where our child is, what stage, at what age, because their chronological age may not be truly representative of their emotional stage or where they are in their skill set. So knowing and understanding how the brain works really gives us the ability to set appropriate limits and keep healthy boundaries. And then the C, our last part, is the compassionate communication point. And this is going to give us a tool set for communicating respectfully, for learning how to really understand, how to listen deeply without just waiting for our turn to speak. So not only will you adjust and maybe reformulate some of your responses and maybe some of your expectations to your kids, but also to everyone in your life. This is really about changing the way you speak and interact with people. We all want the same things. We all have the same basic needs and desires and the feelings that surround those. So this is really about change that will happen in your life. It's not just about training kids or disciplining kids. It's really about so much more than that. It's about relationship. So some of the things that you need to know moving forward. The first one is that parenting is a relationship. And when you strengthen your relationship, that's going to be the answer to 90% or more of your challenges with your kids. The second thing you need to know is that the relationship with yourself matters as much as the one that you have with your child. Your self-care and how you treat yourself and think about yourself and speak to yourself, even in your head, influences the relationships that you have with others and really influences how your kids grow to perceive themselves. Another thing I want you to know is that it's important to look at what are my long-term goals for my child. Your own history has a lot to say about how well you can meet your needs and meet the needs of your children. So knowing your story is the fourth thing I want you to know moving ahead. Knowing your story is key. It's hard not to resort to punitive methods if that's all you know, or if that's what was used with you, if that's the community that's surrounding you. So you want to surround yourself with support. The last thing I want you to know moving ahead is that it's really important to find a community that will support you in this journey. There's going to be some healing, there's going to be some processing, and all of this will expand your perspective so that you can really see new solutions that you've never noticed before. And we're not perfect. We're not always going to do it right, but it's helpful if you don't have people in your ear saying, oh, he just needs more discipline. So I can give you ideas and tools. There's really nothing like your own ability to experience the compassion with your kids and the creativity and to practice self-regulation so that you can really show your children and guide them to learn the skills that you want them to take on and develop. I can't stress enough that this is not about just giving you strategies to show you how to make your kids do things or stop them from doing things. A lot of the times our challenges are going to be developmental. Sometimes it's just the age and the phases and stages that happen that we have to move through, that we have to be willing to sit with our kids in those discomfort and in that struggle. I don't want us to fix things for our kids. I don't want to leave them wallowing in pain we need to provide empathy, but we also don't want to just fix everything. We need to just support them as they move through discomforting feelings or frustration. There aren't really any rules to getting through frustration. It's about acceptance. It's about coming to a new place. It's about having a supportive base. So much of this conscious parenting, it's not a set of rules for you to follow. It's really a set of ideas and beliefs about what kids need to develop and thrive in all areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, which will all support their academic growth. It's about providing timely responses and aiming to strengthen your relationship. I want to give you something more than just 1, 2, 3 magic fixes or timeouts. I want to give you empowerment. I want you to feel empowered to build influence with your kids rather than this magic fix to just create obedience and compliance in the moment. A lot of our success as parents is going to come from our ability to shift our perspective, to see it from a non-reactive, non-defensive point of view. But this takes a lot of work and a little bit of self-care on our part. We have to be able to build our tolerance, to be able to know how to access our compassion. We have to understand what the implications of punitive measures are and the impact of things like shame and blame, or sarcasm, comparisons, critical remarks. They have a very real effect on the child's brain development and on your relationship with your child. So you want to be able to follow your child's cues and attune to their emotions so that you can start to find creative solutions. It's about how do we meet our needs in ways that are respectful of others. We need to help our kids find new ways to meet their needs. And that can be done, it doesn't have to be done with control. It can be done by looking deeper, by teaching kids to reflect on what they're feeling. A lot of our traditional advice around child rearing or discipline, it advises parents to set conditions on pretty much everything, sleep, play, feeding, but also on emotional expression and affection and how we discipline kids. And this can really be a challenge. So I want you to suspend your belief a little bit in your ideas and your rules about what you think about kids and parenting. Just as you go through this class, I want you to release some of those ideas that you may hold about consequences, about what kids should and should not be able to do, about respect. A lot of the times as parents, we want to teach everything but how to manage emotions. We can be really good at putting out all the behavioral fires that go on, but are we stuffing down emotions to get through things? Because that's not a skill, that's just an escape. The skill and the skill building really comes in the feeling. Feelings are what keep you connected. And if you disconnect from your feelings or from yourself, that's what allows you to react in anger or defend or want to control. But when you honor yourself with some compassion, when you give your emotions the freedom to do what they need to do, which is tell you about what it is that you're needing, then you open up to, again, those solutions which seemed so elusive before. And this is what we want to model for our kids. But again, we can have a lot of that pressure from social groups, from family groups, and that can cause us to lose sight of our long-term goals and ignore those connections. So I want to reconnect you. I want to reconnect you with your inner truth and your ideas and feelings about how to achieve peaceful solutions in your families and not the ideas of other people. So we are going to break away from a lot of popular advice. So let's do a little exercise. Let's look at how we react to our children most often. So in the first column, I want you to write down how do you react most often to your child? Do you react with patience, curiosity, with interest? Or do you react with anger, with impatience, with frustration, with criticism? Now, I'm sure we all do a little bit of each, right? But be honest. You don't have to share this with anyone. How often do you react with anger, impatience? What do you look like to your child most often? And then in the second column, What kind of person do I want my child to grow up to be? Write down some qualities that you want your child to display as an adult. What's important to you to be instilled in your child? So stop the video here and do this exercise. Ask yourself, how do I react to my child most often? And what kind of person do I want my child to grow up to be? And then come back here when you're finished. So how did you find that? When your needs are met, when you're feeling like you have the resources to handle a situation, when you're feeling capable, it's really easy to see your child in a way that's loving, curious, and as a child who is in need of skill building, who's still mastering relationships and mastering his impulse control. But when your needs are not met, when you're feeling that lack of sleep, when you're feeling unacknowledged, or not recognized or unheard, then you can see your child as your worst enemy. So you want to look at how are you reacting most often, and is this going to lead you to that second column, what kind of person you want your child to grow up to be. We want them to align. What you model in that first column is what you're going to get in that second column. So in order to teach or guide our children, we have to be willing to reflect together. We have to be willing to withstand the pain of our kids' emotions, to resolve to stay close and connected, and to commit to developing some internal tools for self-regulation, for empathy. But in order to do this, we really have to know about our kids, and we have to know about ourselves. And I think when we get stuck in challenges and behaviorally focused, sometimes we lose sight of the things that we enjoy about our kids, and we lose sight of our own strengths. It's really easy to talk about the challenges, and it's really easy to criticize ourselves sometimes or feel self-righteous in our behaviors. But I want us to now take some time to stop and really investigate, what do I enjoy about my child? So here's another exercise for you to do, and there's 4 questions. The first 2 are about your child, and the second 2 are about yourself. The first one is, what do you enjoy about your child? Take time to write down a list. A few things. It doesn't have to be a long list. But really think about, what is it that you enjoy about your child? Not what do they do for you, but really, what is it that you enjoy, that you take pleasure in seeing in your child? How do they contribute to your overall experience? And then take some time to find out, what do I find challenging about my child? And see if you can do it without laying blame, shame, judgment, or guilt. That may be hard at first. And then do some personal investigation. What are your strengths as a parent? What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And again, be honest with yourself. Maybe you are really good at listening when you're connected, but maybe you have a little bit of a temper. Be honest so that you know where you can set some goals. Where do we go from here? I want you to just commit to becoming aware of your habits and patterns, and then set some goals for yourself and your family. Until next time, everybody, remember, it's about consciousness, not perfection. Take care and make it a great one.